Okay. Next up, we have Daniel Barr from Sydney. And he is chairman and founder of bitfwd community, and he'll be talking about user journey and user experience in the crypto economy. And you may remember him from the dance at the opening act. So there we go. There we go.
Okay, yeah. My real passion is actually the choreography and stuff like that, but if we're already here, then we may as well share some other things for nerds. So, yeah, a bit about what we do with bitfwd. So it's now the 4th year that we're running community-driven venture network, developer content, all sorts of those things to kind of together bootstrap the crypto economy and bring this thing to the real world. So, yeah, taking a look at what does crypto apps experience look like today, the basic concept is quite known. You first verify yourself through a third-party exchange. You then wait however long does their KYC process takes to verify, transfer money from the bank to the exchange, and then install some web extensions, and then you end up using this kind of looking dashboard, which is, yeah, beautiful or ugly is arguable already. And this is kind of state-of-the-art crypto application of today, Radar Relay. Then if you're going to mobile, even the best mobile wallets, so you have mobile browsing, Web3 compatible mobile browsing, which is, yeah, kind of main. Like today in like when we're used to already like the Uber generation, this is totally suboptimal, and some of the applications are not even accessible on mobile. So that's really bad. Basically, the user experience is terrible. It leads to slow adoption or no adoption in some cases, and hinders the industry as a whole. So taking a quick step back, I often ask people this question: where do you live? So some people tell me, I live in Berlin, I live in Toronto, in Sydney, or like if I'm really cool and like I'm Ethereum guy, so I'm like, I live on Earth because I travel all over. But actually, we're all already digitally living, right? We all basically browse online and use all of our online accounts for many, many different things. For example, this is screen time, 8 hours a day, Telegram, WeChat, whatever, and these devices, the phone, the computer, it has our thoughts, our emotions, our sexual desires, our money. Basically, everything is there. We're already living in a digital space, and we're not really looking at it that way. And some emoji was fuck there. So now the question is, besides all the like really good stuff about the network architecture, how do we look at UX from decentralized perspective? How do we achieve decentralization in the UX realm? So the answer, obviously, is the Great Firewall of China. The Great Firewall of China basically divided between China and the rest of the world, and by that, it let those digital netizens evolve differently, and that led to a vastly different UX, which is actually a good thing, because diversity is not a bad thing. Basically, it leads to diversity of digital species. If we are all some form of digital life online, now we have at least a few kinds of that, and not just the one Google, Facebook style kind. Now, if we're looking at what do people want in the different digital species that they come from. So if you're, say, in China, and you're looking into an app, you want everything. You want food, games, shopping, sexy time, movies, everything, right? And how does that look like? That's super app. So you have apps that basically integrate payments, utilities, dating, everything. And like you'd be familiar with that from various of those apps like WeChat and Ali and Gojek, and each of them in the realm integrates a bunch of different things. If you're looking at it from the Western perspective, you're looking at focus, efficiency, elegance, all the Apple-style things. And then you end up with a very nice-looking search bar, right? Now, when we're thinking about it from the product management perspective, with the super app style, it's all about integration. So like the deeper level of integration leads to reduced friction, and by that increases usability. If you're thinking about it from the Google style, basically it's fragmentation. This is a screenshot from my phone. I have a folder wholly dedicated to Google, and as you can see, it's not even just one screen in that folder. So all that, just imagine how many actions I need to do to go between those different apps. How much friction did that add? Mark, on the other hand, he's like one of the only people that obviously is like one of the most popular people in this room, and he's the only one who kind of really gets it. He lets the products like Instagram and Messenger cannibalize each other so that it will all culminate into something that is powerful and like encompassing much more than just like a one function, with the caveat of WeChat that when WhatsApp, when they acquired it, so the two founders put a clause that they don't allow them to infringe users' privacy, and of course, they have to respect it until this thing expires, and then we'll see what's happening after that. So yeah, and if we're looking at, again, like the product philosophy of the super apps, the creator of WeChat, Alan Zhang Xiaolong, he's like a big deal as Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs in the world of digital products, and people don't know so much about him in the West. But for those who are interested in the space, I really recommend reading Connie Chan. She's the general partner at A16Z, and she covers WeChat obsessively. So all of her content is written in like nice English and really like digs to the depth of how WeChat and Alan Zhang does all their things. And recently they published these 4 product principles. The interesting one of them is the decentralized ecosystem principle, which you may be surprised to hear that this is a principle they have, given that it's one of the most centralized applications. But actually, the decentralized ecosystem principle is not so much by the server level. It's more about when you're actually using WeChat, you can't think of it as an equivalent to WhatsApp. It's a lot more. It has all those different things. And for you to actually discover where things are, you really need to start exploring it. And some people would say that it's actually quite poor discoverability. But it means that the entire thing is decentralized. And when people are developing mini programs on WeChat, there isn't like a one app store that tells you like, this is the most trending thing and whatever. Like the whole distribution is heavily relying on word of mouth and those kind of things. And this is an intentional thing that Alan Zhang himself is very, very obsessive about. So my question is, how about we start trying crypto super apps? Reason is, in crypto, there is no West or East. It's basically a global thing from day one. And it's possible to integrate between all of those different protocols. So it's just natural calling for crypto super apps. So the first kind of product that I've seen not too long ago, Zerion, they are kind of trying to build a decentralized bank. So aggregating all kind of maker stuff that are out there, like Compound Finance and don't remember, maybe Dharma it was, and then Uniswap. So basically aggregating it into one interface, and by that, it kind of reduces the friction from a user to have to know where to go. That kind of integration outlook is quite cool, in my opinion. It's the right direction. One thing that I think is really not exactly with it is the fact that obviously it's a web interface, so by now we're already the mobile generation. We want something that is mobile. And there is no wallet there. So you basically need to still hook it up to your MetaMask or whatever other wallet that you use. Again, introducing more friction. So right now, the state of crypto is that people really understand that we're moving from web to mobile. However, it's a little bit hard to develop apps for mobile, because if you are to develop an app and you want to be non-custodial, bam, you introduce friction. If you want to have a wallet, then all right, every app will build their own wallet just for one single use case app. It's kind of like I won't have like gazillion wallets on my phone or wherever it is that I'm using it. So a solution that is proposed by Alice, a project I'm working on with Mark recently, after surveying a lot of developers that are working on crypto apps, 70% of crypto apps are written in React. Now, using React Native, we can basically bring the power of those apps to iOS and Android and plug into the native features of those operating systems and phones. Basically, the Alice SDK gives access for the dApps to the user wallet and decentralized exchange and to the Ethereum blockchain. Now, because it's built with the native mobile features, you basically have camera access, location services, and push notifications. So just imagine for how many use cases it would be much more nice to have QR scan there or a map that guides you to find something, all those sort of things. And then an application like Local Ethereum, friends from Melbourne that are doing great work, could basically look, instead of this complex web interface, it could look and feel like the mobile apps that we use every day and make our lives easier, right? And yeah, like a quick walkthrough through like where we're at with Alice. We were basically working on the front end and the SDK. And if you're looking at the super app kind of launchpad, so this is the app launcher, you have access to all your different favorite applications. And then say that you got into Local Ethereum, and then because you have the native wallet, you basically can sign messages or transactions right then and there. You don't need to go out of it, and all the while you're still in Alice interface. If you want to hear more and go deeper down the SDK, you'll have to come tomorrow to the Web3 UX and conference, and Mark will basically give us a deeper dive into all the SDK. Alpha Wallet will be there, and other teams as well. Now, yeah, I want to, before I'm finishing, just a couple of days ago when Pandia was on the stage, she was asking, where should we do the next EDCON? Now, I've been in the last EDCON in Toronto, and it was really awesome, and it's really great that we made it to bring all of you guys here to Sydney. And I think that in both the Toronto case and Sydney, half of the Link Time team wasn't able to come because of visa issues, and those guys put so many hours on organizing it. So I think that it's a shame. So I suggest to start spamming Pandia's email, asking her to bring EDCON 2020 to Shenzhen. I started that hashtag, so please, if you can use that on a post, and basically let's convince Pandia together to do it in Shenzhen. It's the most cyberpunk city in the world with all kind of crazy hardware maker scene stuff going on there. And that's pretty much it. So thanks a lot for listening.
Great, Daniel. So that's really interesting that you sort of talked about what you're doing with Alice. So how is that different to, for example, what Alpha Wallet is doing? They're also trying to aim to be a super app, and what Status would be doing. How do you think you're different?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there are quite a few wallets out there. For the most part, most of the wallets are focusing on Web3 browsing rather than actual mini dApp like the WeChat style. We are actually right now testing a few different wallets. We're talking to the Alpha Wallet team quite regularly, and yeah, with Status, they're a little bit more on the purist side, I'd say. So like things there are, yeah, like taking a different direction from what I've seen. Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much, Daniel. Appreciate it.